Welcome to the Alliance Connection, a podcast by the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance. Each week, we bring you insights on business, economic development, and community growth in the Greater Fort Dodge region. Our focus is to drive progress, support local businesses, and enhance the quality of life in our area. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Alliance Connection podcast. I'm Astra Ferris.
And I'm Katie Grobe.
And today we are so excited to have a local celebrity, if you will, our emerging leader, Luke Hugghins. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. And I don't know about local celebrity, but
I do feel like
you're a lot of places. So.
Yes.
There's a lot of more important people than me, but we'll leave it at that for now.
Well, no doubt. Congratulations again on this award. That's really cool, and so glad to see you get that. Were you shocked on the night of annual dinner?
Yeah, I didn't have any idea. You know, it was interesting when my wife said, yeah, I think I'm going to end up coming to the dinner with you tonight. I thought, well, she must have changed her mind. But little did I know that she'd found out early in the day, of course. Yeah. And so it was great to have her there, of course, because she's always been such a big part of the support network for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a humbling recognition from the Growth Alliance. So thank you all and everyone else that was involved. I don't know who nominated me, but I've been trying to figure that out, and so thanks to that person as well. But like I said, there's a lot of great things going on in this community, so yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of it.
That's awesome.
So at what point did you know that it was you, as I think you were presenting it, right?
I was presenting it. And, you know, it's like you kind of go into, this person does this, and the list is long. So we're going to get into all the things that you're involved in. But yeah, as Katie said, when did you know, like, oh gosh, that sounds like someone I know? Like,
yeah, you said something about merging public safety in there, and I thought, well, you know, that could probably narrow it down to a handful of people, and maybe law enforcement, maybe, you know, who knows. But then once you started listing the things, and you listed like the Kids Zone Daycare and the RAGBRAI committee, and I was like,
Main Street,
yeah, you know, the first two or three kind of was like, well, those are odd enough that, you know, I know what it is. And, you know, and then I looked at my wife, and of course she was cheesing at me. So yeah, it was good.
Love her. She's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, I think too, whenever we talk about emerging leader, this is a more like a new award for the Growth Alliance. This is just the second time that we've given this award, but I think it's really important because, you know, and I've had a lot of people say, gosh, well, with Luke's, like everything he's involved with, he's not really emerging. Gosh, he's been involved for many years, which is also true. But I think that a lot of times you don't realize how many things that you're involved in unless you get recognized for it.
Yeah, I think it's ever since I moved back full time in 2014 to Fort Dodge. So, you know, by the way.
So are you from here?
Yeah. So I grew up here. Well, I was actually born in Texas, but then very early on when I was like about 2 years old, our family moved here because my dad was the district manager at JCPenney's.
Okay.
So that's what brought us to town. So basically, you know, I grew up here for all my formative years and went to senior high, graduated from there, went to Iowa State for engineering, and then came back at the end of 2014. And so from then on, you know, there's been a trend that any organization wants to have young people come in and be a part of it and take over and that kind of thing to keep their work going, right? None of us want to put a bunch of time into something and then just have it fizzle out. So there's endless opportunity there, probably in any community, but being from here, it was easy to make those connections and rebuild on the ones that I'd had, you know, from before I moved away. So since then, it was easy to get involved, and yeah, I'm happy to elaborate on any of that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think too, did you ever imagine just coming back to your hometown and staying? Was that ever the plan?
Yeah, I think, you know, I chose to go to Iowa State because it was close to home. My parents are here. They're still here.
Nice.
I have two siblings that were here too at the time. And so it was easy to want to be close to family.
Yeah.
And so I knew that there'd always be an opportunity there. When I found McClure Engineering as an employer, as an intern, I knew that, you know, they were here in Fort Dodge, and I didn't know a whole lot of what else they did when I first went and met with them.
Yeah.
But of course, they took a chance on me. So I knew that I could start off here with McClure and then grow if I needed to move somewhere else or wanted to.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm really happy with the decision to stay here.
Yes. I mean, I know that we've worked very close together because you've been on the Growth Alliance Board, Executive Committee, part of the Search Committee, just very involved in many things. But when you look at that list of all of the YP, Kids Zone, all these things, you know, if you have any advice for somebody who's thinking they want to step into civic engagement and leadership, what would that be?
Yeah, I'd go back on that same point that there's a lot of organizations looking for that next generation of people to come in with fresh ideas and fresh networks of people to tap into. And so YP's always been a big one on that. Getting the younger professionals involved, not only in YP as an organization, but in the community. A lot of times in YP, we were asked for lists of people that wanted to volunteer for other things or, things like that. So, generally I'd say getting involved in any of those kind of things are great. But there's all these other organizations that whether you feel like you're interested in it or not, you're going to build relationships by going out and joining some of these organizations. So I'd say just get out and build those relationships because, you won't regret it 5 or 10 years down the road if you're still here, that, you can lean on those people for a whole lot of other things that have nothing to do with the original organization you were a part of.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you do at McClure?
Yeah, so now my role is kind of more of an HR related role. And my title's business partner. So I help consult on a lot of things within our business, but, I got to, I did the engineering side, the design, project management, a lot of that. On our water and wastewater team, especially and agricultural drainage. But since then, I wanted to get more into the operations of the business. And so that's what got me into more of a typical like internal trainings, doing recruiting, all of those kind of things where now a lot of my clients are internal folks to McClure. And, we're in a rapid growth stage right now. So being able to help support that, look through acquisitions and help integrate acquisitions, that'll be a big part of my future as well. So like I said, McClure's had a lot of flexibility for me.
Growing
in my
too,
growth. Yeah,
right? They're growing very rapidly, right?
Yes, for sure.
That's cool.
We want to continue to grow again through acquisitions and organically, but we've got offices in Boston, Massachusetts now, and just right around there another one. So we'll see that growth continue out on the East Coast as well as in the Midwest.
Wow, I don't think people all the time realize what a reach that McClure has, and to have that expertise right here at home in our backyard is such a cool asset and blessing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favorite thing about being involved?
By far, just meeting the people, again, building those relationships, because you never know when the relationship from one event or one organization will really help you out, whether it's in your personal life or, working through another organization. And so, when you can do things like, as an example, I mentioned I had a medical deal last Friday. So the primary nurse that I had, she'd known my wife since she was really little from the bowling alley here in town. One of the gals that took me back to get a CT scan, I worked with her at one of my first jobs. And so, you get into a situation like that where it's like, okay, this is an uncomfortable situation, but it's a lot more comfortable because there's people that that are around and
neighbors and friends taking
neighbors
care of
and
you.
friends and people you work with and all those things. And so whether you're, moving houses or changing jobs or any of these life events going on, it's nice to have that support network of people that you've kind of grown up with all around.
No, that's awesome. I love that. I think too, a lot of times people will be like, well, I'm not qualified to do XYZ civic thing or leadership thing. And I think whenever you look at, and some of the things that you just said, just jumping right in and being ready and available, even if you don't all the times feel so qualified to do so, is part of the process, right?
Yes, for sure. I always like to say you don't have to be the smartest in the room or, the wisest in the room or oldest in the room to be in a lot of rooms. And so sometimes just being in a lot of rooms forms that perspective that makes it important for that next room that you're going to be in. And that's what I came to, to realize was I'm not the loudest in the room. But after I was in enough of them, then it's like, okay, now I'm in a room where nobody else has this perspective and it's valuable at that point. Yeah. So, regardless of what organizations you're part of, I think you'll have that kind of outlook.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell anybody that might not know something about you, Luke, or what's on the future for your emerging leader? And
who knows what the future will bring?
Yeah.
I've kind of alluded to the fact that I like to be a part of a lot of things and then, let things take their course and see how they evolve. So, I kind of go with the flow when it comes to that. So I'm not out there targeting, running for office or, anything like that. I do get asked that quite a bit, but I'll, of course, always support any of our elected officials and any leaders in whatever capacity I can.
Yeah.
But, I like to see just the general culture of this area grow. One thing I really appreciate is the live music culture.
Yes.
So, I saw a podcast yesterday, some guys from out of town talking about how people would really soon, if they haven't already, come to realize what the Fort Dodge music scene is all about. So I really like seeing some of those quality of life things continue to grow and evolve and compound in addition to the economic growth and community development growth that we've seen. So those are some of the things I want to continue to support and find new ways to support. Again, on that quality of life thing, because we have so many good economic development. You all are running with that, and the community development side. So if there's some of those other quality of life things that I can support here in the near future, I want to continue to do that.
That's awesome. And it is crazy that you can see live music it's almost like any night of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of blows your mind
and it's not like just one concert here. Like there's like numerous concerts happening at different venues and
the performing arts, the Iowa Central and all the things they're doing. Just, I don't know. It is pretty neat to see. I don't know. Somebody said it's like the little Nashville of our area. And I was like, I love that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. I love how supportive all the artists are for each other too, and all the people involved. And you saw that in this podcast yesterday that I was watching, but you talk about Jefferson in your office and the way that they go out and support each other. And then if you follow these guys and gals on their social media, seeing that they're playing all over the state. And so they're really building a name for Fort Dodge as a music culture,
right?
As they continue to do their own things, and regardless of the genres they're playing, they're always supporting each other. So I just love to see that kind of stuff kind of come out of all the initiatives that everyone's worked on towards, whether it's growing jobs or putting up housing, or those are all things that come with economic development, but the arts and the culture is why people stay here. And so those are the things I continue to be passionate about.
That's awesome. I love those workforce retention and attraction type of efforts. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like with the workforce, national shortage, it's like, how do we keep people here? How do we bring people here? And I think once you're here, I think objectively, not being from here, once you get here, you're like, oh my gosh, look at all that we have. I think Cosgrove at the Webster County Conservation was saying that once we have that other connector on some of the trails, we'll be the 4th largest trail system in the state of Iowa, which is pretty phenomenal for being our size, I think. And yeah, it's just cool to see what can be too.
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah, I love how the trail system, you can go from like these smaller outside towns into Fort Dodge. Like, where else can you find that?
I know. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the Alliance Connection podcast. Stick around as we hear a quick word from our sponsor.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.
All right, Luke, you mentioned to music. What do you like to do in your free time besides go to cool music events?
Yeah. So I mentioned my parents are here. My wife's parents are here too. And so we spend a lot of time hanging out with family and friends.
Cool.
Being from Fort Dodge, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of people that we've come to know and grown up with. And then it's fun to get to know new people to town, when they move to town and building friendships that way. So, again, we go to a lot of the music events for those kind of things, but I also do, I'm more of an outdoorsman. I do a lot of hunting. I don't know when this will air, but there's, I encourage anyone to attend the annual Pheasants Forever banquets, those kind of things, because those events have really grown and there's a great group of people running those. Fireman's balls, so being a volunteer firefighter and an EMT for Badger and then in Fort Dodge as well.
Yeah.
I like to support as many of those departments outside of, all around the area. If I can. So there's a lot of the departments that do fireman's balls and fundraisers, whether that's pancake breakfast, omelet breakfast. So also would encourage anyone to get out and support those. So kind of, we don't do a whole lot of traveling because we got a lot of our favorite people right around here. And so we spend more of our time, again, kind of trying to support events and going out and live life around here.
And being close to home. Well, and it's nice too because our traffic is non-existent. So as far as the time it takes to get to an event, That is sort of a hidden gem too.
Yeah.
You can go home and
you
10
can
or
get off
15.
work at 5:00 and make a 5:30 event, no problem.
Yeah.
I can tell you when I was in pain on Friday, it was nice to have about a 3-minute drive to the ER than compared to anything else. So,
Oh my gosh.
yes.
Well, shout out to Unity Point and all
Yes.
of those providers
For
too.
sure,
Our
they were
neighbors
all
and friends.
excellent. They provided excellent care.
Oh my goodness. Who is somebody that you look up to?
Yeah, when I get these questions, it's hard to narrow it down to one person, right? So
Sure.
I would say I look up to a general group of people, and it would probably fall in the category of people who they support you, even when you stumble, when you're failing, or you're under intense scrutiny. So when you're in leadership positions, you'll find, especially in towns where you grew up, you're going to make people mad that you may have known your entire life. And that can be really tough. And so the people that are there to support you through that, even if they disagree with you, are good ones. The ones that see potential in you before you might see it in yourself. And then the ones that experience success and then they bring you along with their success, or they help educate you from their success. Those are some of the key attributes that I see in some of the people that I respect a lot and that influence me a lot. And that I hope I can continue to compound that for others. So, I have a goal this year to identify a mentor who's younger than me, because, again, to continue to open my eyes to a new lens that I might not have. I have some really great mentors who are older than me, but I want to find one that, offers that fresh perspective from a younger generation than myself even.
That's awesome. All right. So anybody that's younger that's listening to this, he's looking for a younger mentor, right?
I could use a mentor, yes.
Use a younger mentor.
Help me out.
I love that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely keeps you open to new ideas and keep up with the current trends and all that stuff too.
Yeah. I think it's a compliment when you have people that have been leaders for a long time say to you, you've really taught me a lot in the last few years, or, so I've had that from people who are 70 or 80 years old. And it's always been a compliment to me, because it's like, okay, even though they've been in the game a long time, and they're really good at what they do, the fact that they're saying they learned something from me, is a compliment. And so I want to make sure that I'm learning from others of all generations, but I want to specifically target people younger than me and some of the younger leaders in our community.
Yeah, I love that. I know at our annual dinner, I had a couple folks come up afterwards. I think they were engineers at Cargill in the intern program, or just younger workers at Cargill. And they were like, hey, we joined YP and we want to be involved. And it's just refreshing to meet new folks that you've never met that are upcoming leaders and folks that are part of our community. So that's a really great idea. So I love that. I love that tip.
Okay. So you've been president of the Growth Alliance. You're an ambassador. You've obviously been to numerous events of ours. Which one's your favorite?
Ooh, that's tough, because they're a little different. The annual dinner, I always enjoy that because we get to celebrate the success of the entire region together, and honor the many great things that are going on. And for instance, I got to see some friends I hadn't seen for a long time, not even since high school, and now they're working full time for these organizations that are part of this community, even though they don't live here themselves. And so, making those connections is always a big part for me at the annual dinner.
Yeah.
Now the golf outing is, of course, I've been on that committee. I don't know how many years now.
Thank you, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I do, because it's enjoyable. It's always a good social event too, and the weather, knock on wood, generally plays well for us. So, I think we can continue to explore any new events that might be out there. We don't want to. At least in my mind, we don't want to overdo it. But if anybody's out there and says, "Hey, we should try this or that," I know you all are always open to new ideas, and that's been so fun to see when it comes to marketing and elevating the presence of the Growth Alliance and helping compound the actual impact that the Growth Alliance can have, because those fundraising events and exposure events happen. So
absolutely.
Thank you all for doing all that. But it's hard to narrow it down. But I picked the two biggest ones, so that's kind of a cop out. But
it's fun. But it's all good.
It's okay. Those are the fun ones.
We put a lot of effort, and our volunteers are so gracious and help us with those events to really make them what they are. So no, that's very fair.
I've only been an ambassador here for the last year or so. So getting used to those ribbon cuttings has really been fun to support the businesses open up or the new organizations, and and just see how happy they are to invest in our region.
Yeah.
I wish more of the public could just come and see some of those, and you can, you're invited to a lot of these ribbon cuttings, anyone from the public, and I'd encourage you to come to those and just meet some of these new businesses and help support their efforts, because making that investment's a risky deal, and there's a lot of people doing it with success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like they're always so surprised by how many people show up.
Yeah.
And it's so great to have all of those ambassadors all be on the same page and supporting these new businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I know the one we just had for Sina at Investionista. She was like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how many people would come. And that's a common theme that, we hear from folks. And so I know, we had the big one with Baker Group just recently. And, Corey had talked about how he was just his other folks from different parts of the state and country were like, oh my gosh, they really showed up here in Fort Dodge in this area. So it's great to be a part of that, and it's cool to see that grow. So thank you for being part of that as well.
Yeah. Even like at the Chick-fil-A ribbon cutting, the people from their corporate office that do these all over the country, they were impressed by the amount of people that show up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Right?
That's awesome.
I love to toot the ambassador's horns any chance I get.
Yeah, they're a great dedicated group, and a lot of fun ribbon cuttings and just support, because even after you step out of that room, you'll hear from some of them that says like, yeah, I went and talked to them because they were struggling with this or that, or they needed some support finding out somebody that can help me with, marketing or whatever it may be. And that's what those ambassadors are there for, is to help, guide you along and make sure that you have the path towards success, and you're not out there on your own. So it's been fun to watch the dedication from that group.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for our listeners today?
Yeah, I mean, again, they're kind of tough, but I would say, again, there's a lot of organizations out there that could use the next generation that wants to come in and help, of any age, by the way. But with a growing community, I think it's also important to find something you're passionate about, and if you need that support from an ambassador type group, from the Growth Alliance, from me, from anybody, to help get your idea or your event going or your organization, there's plenty of people out there to help with that as well. And it can seem daunting if you have to, raise $50,000 or, more to do something. But whether it's a big vision or a small vision, I would encourage you to at least explore how to get something like that going if it's something you're really passionate about. Because, again, those are some of the quality of life things that my wife and we stick around for and help support and enjoy seeing those blossom. So reach out if you have any questions, maybe to you all, to me, to help get some of that stuff going, because any new events and new organizations are always fun to see get going.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, thank you so much. Again, congratulations as our emerging leader for 2026, Luke. It's been fun to watch.
Thanks so much for having me and for the recognition.
Yeah, very well deserved. And we've got to shout out Becker Florist with our beautiful spring arrangement.
I'm so happy for spring.
Me too. And the tulips just tell me that.
Say less, right?
I love
the spring
through
tulips.
the winter.
Yay, I love that.
Yes.
And as always, all of our listeners, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast episode and many others. Tune in next time, and thanks for checking us out. Take care. Every connection strengthens our community, and every conversation sparks new opportunities. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Alliance Connection.
Follow the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance online and on social media. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
I'm Astra.
I'm Katie.
And we'll see you next time.